Hey man, let's go. If you test a speaker connected to a preamp or outside of a box, it's one thing. Putting it in a box is another.
Oh, yes. The speaker experience has a lot to do with the box as well, right? Because it's an acoustic thing, right? It's a physical phenomenon. So the acoustic part of what you calculate in terms of the box's volume, how it responds, the same speaker will give you various different experiences. Different box.
Look, folks, we always say, what influences the sound? My brother. There are so many variables. Let's go. I'm going to get to the speaker. And when it comes to the guitar instrument, which is solid, we had that discussion here about the woods and everything else. You have only on the guitar the pickups, the parts, the wood, and the knobs, the controls. Control and pickup will exert a much greater influence than the wood. I think everyone already agreed. You're aware of the pedals, that all the pedals have controls, which are connected to the amplifier, which also has control. In the amplifier, there can be a cabinet with two 12s. It can have one 12 with different wood and a different preamp.
And besides the wood, there's the matter of construction, right?
The construction. So let's get to that point. How much does that change then, right? For example, I really like combos. There's the hot rod, right? Which is one of 12.
Okay, right.
And there's the cabinet there. What would change if my cabinet changed, for example? If I place the speaker more in the middle and not so much to the side?
It's just that in a combo, it ends up being something more. It won't affect the ACK as much as in a calculated cabinet for the speaker, like a closed back, ported, and so on. Then it changes a lot. But in a combo, it might change less. What will be noticeable is the change of the speaker. For example, I sell a lot of speakers to people who buy a hot rod, a Marshall, or any combo, which comes with those standard speakers, right? Which are good speakers, but the amp can deliver much more than that, right? Once you upgrade the speaker in a combo, man, you transform the amplifier. I would say by more than 50% easily.
The one who said they changed it here was the girl who came here, to... No, the last one here. Tatiana. If I'm not mistaken, she put in a BGT, didn't she?
No. She put in a Celestian.
Which one did she put in again?
I think it was the G12T. As I watched that episode, I think it was a G12T that she mentioned she put in. It reached her sound there.
Talk about that speaker there.
So the G12T75 is the classic Marshall sound, including my In Flames, the initial proposal of the project, which I thought of, was to make a hybrid between the V30 and the G12T, which is a classic mix that people do. Since the idea is not to reproduce exactly the same speaker, when we say based on this or that, we're talking about a guideline there for people to understand what the speaker's vibe is, right? Not necessarily that it will sound the same, especially because I think that doesn't even make sense in the case of speakers, right? Like wanting to make something exactly a clone there because you won't be able to, right? There are many variables too, right? But the idea of making a speaker that sounds in that region close and such, or that even delivers different things to you, that was the pursuit I had with In Flames, right? It basically uses the cone of the G12T75 and mixes elements of the V80 in the same speaker. So you kind of have a mix of both there. And for Marshall, it's sensational, man. It sounds very much in the vibe of the G12T there. And in some aspects, it gets close to the V30, So then it also depends on the EQ, right? Because it's what you said. We're starting from the point of having a fixed preset. From the moment you start tweaking the EQ on the guitar, pedal, or amp, you can reach other places as well. It depends on the speaker having good sensitivity and quality to deliver that to you, right? So you can explore it either way in terms of frequency.
So when I told you I have my hot rod there, it's a Celestion V30, isn't it?
Not always, right?
Mine should be, I think it is, right?
And usually the hot rod, if it hasn't been changed, is an eminence speaker. And it's an OEM pond line, right? That's usually how it is.
Then it be, because I never changed it.
So it is. Usually it's a Fender. It's the OEM line made by Eminence for Fender. It's not a regular line speaker.
Which you consider an average speaker. Is that it?
Yeah, I think you can greatly enhance what your amp can deliver simply by replacing the speaker.
You mean in terms of that will change the sound?
Yes.
It can also be something that the person doesn't want, right?
Yes, it can be.
Because you said it will deliver more, but more of what? More volume, you mean?
No, not necessarily volume, but it will give you more. Of course, though, there's no point in putting in a speaker of worse quality than what's there, which...
That issue of the other subjective discussion, right? That sometimes can change the sound, which for the person might have been a negative change, right?
Exactly. But from the moment you have a level of quality in the product, it's unlikely to be negative because delivering more is the following it. So you have a limit there, let's say, in the mids highs of the speaker that comes in the combo there in the Fender, right? It's there in such, that's what it responds to, right? The American style there, oh, all right. When you change and think more about quality, right, of the speaker, you maintain these characteristics because they also come from the amp, right? But then you open up the range for other things. Suddenly, for example, here's an example. To play metal, this amp isn't great. You put a white stripe there. If you pull it, it will come out with a cool metal sound, you know? Or something else. I'm citing a somewhat generic example here, but people like to put white stripes on a Fender, for example. I have very positive feedback in this regard because it can do other things that a Fender normally wouldn't. It's not even that it can't do it, but not with the desired quality, right? It's like that.
I understand.
Understand? It's really absolutely incredibly cool, man, to do these fascinating tests.
It's because it seems like you're stirring up a hornet's nest, right?
Yes.
In the sense, no. What I mean is changing a pedal, swapping one for another is something you do manually there.
Yes.
Changing a speaker in the amplifier is already something that will take more work.
Yes.
And it seems like it's something, it's not that there's no going back, right? But you do it, so you don't have to go back, right?
Yeah, you're looking for something that the amp is no longer giving you. Now, Tote, it's like you said, if you're happy with the sound it's giving you, if it meets your daily needs.
Yeah, because it's not even your case. You're not even the curious type, right? Man, I was thinking here, I found you to be a cool guy. What do you think about me putting a speaker here in my 450 Rays Meteoro? It's not, right?
Usually the ones who seek me out, right? For a consultation, to find out which model would be nice to switch to for the type of sound the person plays, right? Usually it's people who are already thinking about changing because it's not meeting their needs anymore. They want to make an upgrade, right?
So when you sell, do you also do this consulting work along with the sale?
Oh, quickly, like that, right? Of course, look. Oh, I want a Marshall vibe and such. I want a Fender vibe. I want this vibe, that vibe, and so on. Then there are a million things, right? I play surf music, I don't know, I play high gain with low tuning, you know? Then there are a series of things, right? This speaker will work, this one won't. I say, look, man, I think it's better to go with this one because there are this set of characteristics here that will better deliver what you're looking for. But it's also something, just like you said, it's personal. I think I produce the speaker and such, but sometimes in the hands of a certain person, it sounds different. Anyway, right?
That's it. It's that thing, man. Nothing will save you from ignorance. If you don't want, man, to do any work researching something, man, there's a chance you won't mess up when buying a a job of researching something, man. There's a chance you won't mess up when buying a... She wants to play with the pickup from my guitar. Wants to change the speaker of my amp, man. At some point, you'll have to...
Of course, at least a review, which is something already digested, right? The people who do reviews, there are a lot of people doing really awesome reviews. Sammy from Pedal Quest does some really cool reviews. Spila, who also does a lot of reviews for me, is a guy who is a partner, an endorser of the brand there. He is the guy who does a super professional review, man. He has his play there, which is that classic thing of the march and such, but it's something of extreme quality, man. Extreme quality.
Thank you for watching this segment of the Starling Cast. You can watch the full episode here in the video description. And take the opportunity, if you're a guitarist, to join the largest virtual school in Brazil, exclusive for guitarists, by clicking on the QR code or in the video description. I'll be waiting for you there.